Okay, today we're going to demo Interzoid's data matching tool for Postgres, and we're going to be using Supabase in the example, the SQL database platform, to identify duplicate records in tables, entity resolution, the ability to discover inconsistently represented data, and also showing how you could join tables using data that's not exactly the same, but clearly represent the same entity, whether it's an organization name, a person name, or an address, and getting the highest possible match and join rates. So, of course, as data being the lifeblood of any organization or operation, this will help you have much more efficient, consistent data to work with. Now, a little bit about Supabase. It's a Postgres compatible database that is a cloud-based development platform, and it provides the convenience of a managed service while supporting standard SQL database tables, Postgres SQL connection methods that we'll take advantage of, and in this demonstration, we're going to connect directly to a Supabase database using a standard Postgres connection string, which will allow us read access to process and create all kinds of data exception, data matching, data inconsistency reports against existing Supabase tables. Now, in this demo, we are going to be working with some sample data. Here's just basically a 2-column CSV file. First column is a company name, and the second column is a category. And we're going to load these into a Supabase table. And then we'll use a connection string to run a match report against this data. Quickly you can see there's Costco and Costco stores and some other examples of inconsistent data. So we'll just show how this works, how easy it is to load data into Supabase and then connect to that data to start running these match reports. And then, of course, if you have your own data already in Supabase that you want to connect to, you can see how easy it is to do that and immediately begin running match reports and seeing incidences of inconsistent data that you have in your own tables and begin to remedy that so you can have much better data to work with. We'll also have the link in the description, but just quickly here I included this so you can see where you can download the data yourself. And then before we start, a little bit about the Postgres data matching tool available from Interzoid. It's a browser-based step-by-step tool, so we're going to walk you through multiple steps that connects directly to a Postgres database, and in this case, it's Supabase. And it will use Interzoid's AI-powered similarity algorithms to identify and cluster matching records within your tables. Whether you need to deduplicate company names, match individual names, find variations of addresses, the wizard will walk you through the entire process from connecting to Postgres within Supabase, selecting tables, selecting the columns you want to match on, the output columns that you want to display as part of a report, all the essential steps in generating a downloadable match report. Just a few things too. It does support multiple languages if you want to work in something other than English. 17 different languages that can guide you through the flow. And then once we get started here, you'll be able to choose the type of matching that you want to do, whether it's company name matching that we're doing here, individual name matching, street address, or combinations of these columns. Maybe you only want to match records where the company name and the address match, or an address and a full name match. Some different options there as well. And then let's say in this case, in the example data that we showed, we'll do some company name matching and click next. And then we'll have a connection string. Now let's go back before we do connect. This is the actual connection string to the Supabase instance that we have. So if you go into Supabase after you've created an organization, if you haven't done so yet, that's an easy step of just verifying an email address. You can see here I've got one project on the Interzoid free plan, And that's what we're going to use for our data. And then you can see here, we've got a database that I've created called Postgres Testing, and it's running on the AWS platform. That's something that's handled automatically by Supabase, so we don't have to worry about any of those details. And then when I click into that database, you can see it's got a healthy status. Pretty simple. I've just got the one table of the sample data that we've created. And we're going to just take that. And the important thing is, once you've loaded that data, if I click on SQL Editor off to the left, you can just see I've got the ability to run from the table I've loaded my data into, public.companies. I can simply run a select statement, and you can see that the data is just a table. And I just loaded this with a CSV file. That's easy to do. Just wanted to show that this data is indeed within Supabase. So now back here at the main dashboard, we're going to get the connection string. I'm going to click here, and you'll see that there are some options. We're just going to get a direct connection string. And then there's a connection method, a direct connection, a transaction pooler. I'm actually going to use the session pooler here. And that's just because we're just going to quickly do this. I'm not going to create a persistent long-lived connection. And then once you do that, if you scroll down, it'll actually give you your connection string down here. And you'll need to enter your password as well. But this will be the exact connection string that you'll copy and bring into Interzoid, and that's it. You've connected to your data, and you can start running these reports. Okay, now we're back here at the Interzoid Postgres Match Tool at postgres-match.interzoid.com, and we are on the connect step. Now I've pasted the connection string that I got from the Supabase dashboard right here. And then I can remember these connection details, so I don't need to do that each time. Those will be stored. And it does do it in the browser. The default is off, so of course you don't want to use this with a shared computer, since the connection string is in the browser. And you don't have to save it. I'm doing it in this test environment because it's easy to do so. And then we're just going to hit the connect. And then it connects. And we're going to select the schema within Supabase, and of course we set that initial database up under the public schema, which is common. I'm going to scroll down a little bit here. There's a next button that I'm going to click. I'm not going to save that password. And then it's going to give me a list of the tables. And one other thing too, you do have your API key. This is your Interzoid API key up here on the right, so it won't run until you get an account with Interzoid that's free to set up. And then you'll have your API key that you want to enter right there. You can see get API key if you need one, so that's just a side note. And then the table that I have, the one that I showed you is the companies table. And then it shows us the other columns here. So the company name column that we're going to match on will be the company. Remember, the first column was company and the second was category. Going back to that original data set. Bring it up again here so you can see it's company, comma, category. Okay, so that's going to be our match column, the company column. And then the output columns will show both company and category. And then notice we're going to show the similarity keys in the output. So the similarity key is essentially a canonical key that's used for the basis of matching. So the idea is all the permutations of a given entity name, such as Jim Smith, James Smith, James SMYTH, will all generate the same similarity key. So that similarity key represents potentially thousands of permutations of a given piece of data. The same is true with the company name. IBM, International Business Machines, IBM Corp. Those all generate the same similarity key. and then you match on the similarity key that gets generated rather than the actual data itself. And that's how we overcome a lot of these inconsistencies. And that key is generated using algorithms, various knowledge bases, pieces of AI, all kinds of different ways that we use to generate that canonical similarity key that's used as the basis of matching. So in our report, we're going to show those so you can see them. And then, of course, we'll only show the matching records. So we could show them all. We could just generate a similarity key for each record and then export it for some other use. But here we just want to see a match report so we can get an idea of how much redundant, inconsistent data that we have. We click Next. And now I can see the various parameters of the report that we're going to run. The match function is company name matching. The Postgres SQL Server is a connection string that enables to connect any Postgres SQL Server database. In this case, it's our Supabase database. The schema, the table, the company name column that we're matching on, the two output columns that we're showing. If you had 10 columns, you'd be able to see all 10. And then are we going to show keys? Yes. And matches only? Yes. And that's it. We're going to run our match. And I simply just need to click on Run Match. And then you can see the actual matching data here. Let me scroll up some. That's included in the report. Again, you can see the company name, the category, and then the similarity key that we discussed that was generated. So you can see each of the matches share the same similarity key. And that's what we use, which of course, when you call the Interzoid API, it will generate the similarity key for you if you want to do it some custom way. But using this tool in high performance mode, you can just generate these reports on the fly. You can see Apple, for example, many different ways, JP Morgan Chase, UC Davis, University of California at Davis, different variations of Ford Motor and so on, US Air, US Airways Group. And so the idea is that you can quickly point this tool to your Postgres tables, in this case it's Supabase, and immediately begin generating reports that show the inconsistency that exists within the tables that might be causing a problem. Real easy to connect. Supabase makes it very easy. And again, just select your columns and you're off and running. Now, if you want to see where to run this tool from, of course, it's postgresmatch.interzoid.com. You can also go to interzoid.com. On the home page, go to Products and click on Central Command, where all tools and products are in one place. And then you can see the various tools that are available. The first one's up here, work with CSV files. And then, of course, you can see the product catalog of 55 different APIs. And for this particular tool, we just want to click on the Postgres SQL Data Matching Tool, and you're off and running. That's it. If you have any questions, contact us at support@interzoid.com. Otherwise, come and sign up, get your API key, and start running reports against your Postgres data. Thank you very much.